There's something I would like to discuss today, and that, like the topic says, decide to have a better life. Um, it's something I've known for a while, but recently, I've been reminded of it that, if you're sitting and waiting for life to fall into place in such a way that it favors you, you might actually be waiting for a long time, because you must decide to be a better person. You must decide that you want a better life. You must decide to go after your goals, your dreams. You must decide to get up and take what is rightfully yours. You must decide, you must craft your life based on your decisions and your choices. Nothing is going to be handed to you. Nothing is going to be given to you just out of the blue, just because you exist. Because whatever good thing that you want, you need to know that there are hundreds and thousands of other people that want that same thing. Okay, so many people are fighting for the same spot, so you cannot just sit down, be complacent, and expect to get the prize. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to go after your dreams and your goals every day. You have to decide what you want and then work towards it. You have to show up every day in such a way that you are one step closer to living the kind of life that you want. You have to decide that you want more out of life. You have to decide that you want a better life. You deserve a better life. No matter your circumstances, no matter your situation, no matter whatever it is that you're passing through now, just know that it can get better. It will get better, but your input is also necessary, right? Life is not just going to turn around and favor you just like that. You also have to be doing things. You also have to be working in such a way that if the opportunity comes, it's going to meet you prepared. So you have to decide the kind of life that you want. You have to decide the kind of life that you deserve. You have to decide the kind of life that you are going to go after. Whatever you work towards is what you're going to get. If you wake up every day and do nothing, that you're just lazy and sitting down, at the end of the month, you will realize that you've not really achieved anything. But if you wake up every day and get 0.5% better, you will actually have a better life. You have to decide, to work on your goals. You have to decide that you want a better life. You deserve a better life. And how do you do that? Your choices and decisions that you make are either going to make your life better or they're going to make your life worse, which is why it's really important that we, decide the kind of life that we really want. It's really important that, we take account the consequences of our decisions before we go ahead and decide. And even if you make one wrong decision, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the road. If you make a bad or wrong decision today, you can definitely make a better decision tomorrow. You can definitely do something that will better your life tomorrow. Okay, you don't have to stay stuck in the bad decision that you made. 10 bad decisions will definitely 10 good decisions will definitely cancel out one bad decision. So if you made one bad decision, the best way to approach that is to, realize the mistake that you made, realize the lesson that you can learn from it, and decide to do better in the next occurrence. Now, sometimes when we see that and we have thoughts about, something that could happen, about an action, about an experience, what we think we are going to react in the moment is not actually what we end up reacting. Okay, you can think about a situation and say, okay, in this situation, this is how I'm going to react. But most oftentimes, you are not 100% sure. By the time that situation comes into play, you realize that your action is different from what you thought you would do, right? Your reaction is different from what or how you thought you were going to react, right? Which is why it's easy to give advice, but it's not easy to practice. The same way some people don't take advices from people that have not been in their situations, people that have not walked in their shoes, because if you have not experienced something, it's easy to talk about that thing. It's easy to give advice. Okay, it's easy to say you should have done this, you should have done that. But if you have experienced that thing, you realize that the way that you will react is different from how you said you are going to react. Okay, what you say and what you do, two different things. Okay, it's easy to say good things. It's easy to say, oh, I have reacted positively, because you are not in that situation, right? Talk is very cheap, but action is more costly. Action is more loud, right? Many times we don't know, and sometimes when we react on impulse. Okay, the way you react on impulse is different from the way that you react if you have thought about that thing over and over and over and over again. Now think about this. Why is it that after a scenario passes, after a situation passes, you can come back and say, I should have acted better in that situation. You can then think of 100 other ways that you would have acted in that situation. But if you are on the spot, You need to be thinking fast to be able to react at that particular moment, which is why we also need to train ourselves, right? We need to train ourselves on how to react rightly in the moment. We need to train ourselves on how to, be our best selves in the moment, because some people are good at acting, some people are good in their reactions in the aftermath, right? But if you put them on the spot, because they probably process things at a slow rate, because they're probably slow thinkers, right, or slow reactors, because thinking is different from your emotions, right? If it's a logical situation, how you would react is different from the way you will act in an emotional situation. I'm very aware that I react more logically than I react emotionally, right? My logical reaction is so much more better than my emotional reaction, right? So it's better it is necessary to train ourselves. It is very necessary to develop ourselves. It is necessary to work on ourselves, so that when situations arise, we are able to react quickly and efficiently. We're able to react in the right way, because if you react some way and you go home and you think about it like, oh my god, I should not have reacted that way, or I didn't react right, it means that you need to work on how you react, or how you think, how fast you think, how fast you process things in the moment. For me, I'm aware that I don't really process things properly in the moment. I'm better at processing things in the aftermath, right? If something happens, I need at least a few hours to react to that thing, which is why if we are texting, right, and there's something to say, most of the time I give myself a few hours before I respond, because I don't want to respond wrongly. I don't want to react badly. Okay, so I do give myself a few moments or a few hours to think about it, right? And I don't like impulse reactions, because I cannot trust myself to react properly. I cannot trust myself to react rightly in the moment. But anyways, you have to decide that you want a better life, and the only way you can get a better life is if you go after what you want, right? And another thing is that in going after what you want, you have to be a bit selfish. That's I think that's the hard part. You have to be a bit selfish, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't consider other people. I'm not saying you shouldn't think about other people, but you have to put you first, right? You have to put you and your okay, well, you have to put you first, you have to put your goals first, but at the same time, you also have to consider your family, right? But the harsh way to go is to put you and yourself first, right? You would eventually make it up to your family and your friends, because if you keep considering um family or friends along the way, it slows you down. This is based on my own personal research. I've realized that the people that succeed greatly, the people that make it as much, the people that achieve their goals and their dreams, they always put themselves first. Then after they have achieved their dreams, they go back and make amends with their friends and family. And because of how successful they have become, because of the great person that they have transformed themselves into, their family and friends oftentimes still end up forgiving them. But those that are not willing to let go of family, they're not willing to let go of friends, they stay stuck in that same position for a long time. And the effects of that is at the end of the day, you become miserable. At the end of the day, you resent yourself, and in return, you may even resent the family that you put ahead of yourself, right? So my advice is, or what I'm trying to say is, that do what needs to be done. you know I'm not saying do it at the expense of your family, but I'm saying do what needs to be done, at the expense of other things. Because if you achieve your goals and your dreams and you become somebody important, it's easier to make it up to your family than for you to try to convince your family to accept your goals and dreams in the moment. They most likely may not, right? The thing is that you need to put yourself first, because you will always be with yourself. Like, even you spend the most time with yourself than you spend with family and friends, right? If you're alone, you're with yourself. If you're going somewhere, you're with yourself. Like, anywhere you are, you're with yourself. So you need to really like yourself. You need to love yourself. You need to become somebody that you can stay with. You need to become somebody that you respect. You need to become someone that you can spend time with. Basically, you need to enjoy your own company. And when you look in the mirror, you need to like the person that is looking back at you. And how do you do that? Okay, by making promises to yourself and keeping them, by making sure that you become the best version of yourself, by doing something that you would respect, okay, by doing something that that will make you respect yourself. Okay, and how do you respect yourself? By doing the things that you say you would do, by keeping to your promises, by showing up, by becoming the best version of yourself. That is how you respect yourself. But you need to live your life in such a way that you love yourself. Okay, you need to love your life. Basically, that's what I'm saying. So if you're in a situation where you don't love yourself, you don't love your life, you don't like the hands that life has dealt to you, it's fine. The question is, how do you go from being a person that you don't like, being a person that you don't love, to being a person that you love, you respect, you want to spend time with, and you are happy that you are. Some people look at their lives and say that, well, I'm so happy, the way that I am, the kind of life that I have, and I wouldn't want to be anybody else. But the other people that look at their lives and they're like, no, I don't like my life, I wish I wasn't this person, and all of that. So how do you become someone that you love? How do you become someone that you respect? How do you become someone that you are glad to show up with every day? First of all, you need to analyze the things in your life that you don't like. Okay, list them out. These are the things in my life that I don't like. These are the things in my life that I feel they are holding me back. These are the things in my life that I feel like they're added to my trauma. These are the things in my life that I feel are making me miserable. These are the things in my life I need to get rid of in order to be the best version of myself, right? That's on one hand. Then another list, write out the things that you need to do in order to become the kind of person that you want to be. Write out a list of things that you need to do in order to transform into the kind of person that you'll be happy to see in the mirror. Write out the things that, the things that you need to do, the kind of person that you want to become. Who do I want to show up as every day? Do I want to show up as, do I want to be a boss in my field? Do I want to be the best this? Do I want to be the best that? And remember that you must always aim for the top. You must always aim for the best. Like whatever field, whatever niche that you find yourself in, you must always aim to be the best in that niche. Okay, you're not going to have sleepless nights just to be average. You're not going to skip meals just to be average. You're not going to work overtime even when your body says rest just to be average. Okay, so if you're going to put in all that work, your goal needs to be that you're aiming to be the best. Your goal needs to be that you're aiming to be the top, right? So just list out the kind of person and the kind of things that you need to do in order to become the best version of yourself. Now once you have your goals outlined, the next thing is to start working towards them. And like we said earlier in one of my other lives, when you're working towards a big goal, you have to break it down into small steps. You have to break it down into small goals. That's the only way you can achieve them. Okay, but if you're looking at it like one big massive goal, it becomes too hard for you to achieve. And how do you achieve? You can only achieve goals by breaking down the big goal into smaller goals. So you if you have a yearly goal, or if you have a 2 year goal, right, you break it down into daily goals. Okay, in daily goals we have weekly goals, we have monthly goals. Okay, so if you don't achieve your daily goals in a week, if you miss 2 of those daily goals, you know that, okay, these are the days that have set me back, and this is how I can make attempt at getting better on someone joined my life and you're being rude, so I'm just going to ignore them. Yeah, so this is how you get better at being yourself. This is how you achieve your goals. Okay, this is how you make progress by your daily goals, right? By achieving your daily goals, you can then achieve your weekly goals, you can then achieve your monthly goals. But the thing about achieving goals is that every day you can encounter problems. Okay, every day you can encounter situations, so you would know that, okay, this day, I didn't do so well in this month, okay, because I was going through a hard time in this month. So, I didn't become the best version of myself. I was going through a hard time this month. So, this is the month that has set me back. I was going through a hard time this month. So, this month I didn't achieve my goals. I didn't become the best version of myself. So, when you look at the yearly goals, you know that, okay, in June was the month that I went through a lot. So, in this month, I had to take a break. And don't forget that taking a break and rest is absolutely very necessary on your journey to become your best self. Okay, you don't want to become your best self and you're tired, you are still miserable, because you can achieve all the goals that you want to achieve, but if you go about it the wrong way, by the time you achieve those goals, you would still be miserable. By the time you achieve those goals, you will still not be happy. So in achieving your goals, you also need to be wise about it, because if you're not, you will achieve those goals and realize that they were not even worth it in the first place. Okay, they are not worth it at the end of the day. So while achieving your goals, you want to do it in such a way that you're still having like a balanced life. So when you achieve those goals, those goals actually mean a lot to you. Now, in achieving our goals, sometimes they take years, right? And don't forget, the person that you were when you wrote out that goal, when you started to work on that goal, and the person that you are when you actually achieve your goals are not the same. You're not the same person, right? The person that you are at the start of the journey is not the same person that you will be by the time you complete the journey. Okay, when you start out on a 3 year goal, you are younger, you are more naive, you are not as smart. Okay, you're very hopeful and all of that. But in 3 years, obviously you have grown, you have evolved, you have become a better person, right? So who you are by the time you achieve your goals, it's not the same person that you were at the start. Okay, and don't forget that within that 3 year period, like I said, you have changed, you have experienced a lot, you have met people, you have grown, you have evolved. So that goal may no longer be as important to you anymore. That goal may no longer be as necessary to you, because the kind of person that you have grown into does not see that goal in the same way. The kind of person that you have grown into now has a different goal. Now let me tell you something. When you are working towards goals, sometimes the goal that you start with, that you started with 3 years ago, that is not supposed to be like your main goal. Okay, you need to start working on that thing for you to realize what your main goal is. You need to start working on that thing for you to realize purpose. You need to start working on that thing for you to realize, destiny, right? So the goal that you start out may not be the goal that you end with. Okay, you may start working on a 3 year goal, but somewhere in between, after 2 years, you realize that that goal is no longer what I want. Okay, that goal that I started working on 2 years ago no longer aligns with me. So you redirect your steps. I hope someone is understanding me right. I really hope that I'm making sense. I'm trying my best to explain this, in the way that it is in my head, in such a way that you can find the information valuable or useful. What I'm saying, or what I just said, is that when you start out in 2021, okay, let's say you start out in 2022 on a 3 year goal, right? Somewhere in 2024 last year, you realize that this goal that I set out to do no longer aligns with my life, no longer aligns with the vision, no longer aligns with the purpose. Because within the 2 years that I've been working on those goals, I have grown, I have evolved, I have become a new person, I see things differently, right? So then you change the goal. Okay, you redirect your stuff, you decide to start working on something else, because you're no longer that person that values that thing that you set as a goal, right? Which is why they say it is easier to be in motion when you are already in motion, right? Because one thing leads to another, one thing leads to growth, okay, one thing leads to you evolving, okay. And the more you evolve, the more you set bigger goals, the more you set bigger things that you want to do. The more you evolve, the more you have bigger plans. Okay, the more you evolve, the more you have greater things that you're working towards. Okay, so your goal that you had 3 years ago will not be the same goal that you have now. It's totally okay to change, the story of your life. It's totally okay to change your paths. It's totally okay to change your purpose. Like people that have careers, some people start out as lawyers and then they eventually become engineers, right? As at the time that they started out as lawyers, they wanted to be lawyers, but along the line, due to life experiences, events, actions, and all of that happened, they decided that they no longer want to be lawyers, they now want to be engineers. Okay, so they start being engineers and it goes great, right? But if they had never wanted to become lawyers, okay, if they had never started the journey of being lawyers, they would have never realized that they were supposed to be engineers. Do you understand? So our journey is so important, right? The experience that we get along the way is so important. Do not despise whatever bad thing that you feel you have experienced, or whatever bad thing that you feel that has happened to you, because that was very necessary for you to get to the point that you are now. Okay, you need to go through certain things so they can shape you, so they can make you into the person that you need to be. So those experiences that you look at them as bad experiences, those regrets that you think you need to have, they are part of your journey, right? They lead you into the final destination. So you must experience those things for you to experience the better things. Okay, there's nobody that is successful, there's nobody that achieved their dreams, achieved their goals, there's nobody working in purpose that doesn't have a story to tell. So what I'm trying to say is that the story is part of the journey, right? The story is not like the final destination, the story is part of the journey. So don't despise whatever it is that is happening to you, and don't forget that your present situation does not need to be your next situation. Your present condition does not need to be your next condition. The power to do and undo ultimately lies in your hands. You are the one that is going to make decision that, okay, I've been doing the same thing for 5 years and I'm not seeing any reasonable progress. Okay, I've been doing the same thing for 5 years and I'm not moving forward in the way that I want to. Okay, instead I'm experiencing a decline. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to change my mode of attack, right? I'm going to change the way that I react to things. I'm going to change the way that I present myself. I'm going to change my approach to situations. I'm going to go back to the drawing board and work on my experiences. Okay, I have to expand my network, so I have to expand the kind of places that I go to. I want to reach a wider, better range of people, so I also have to work on people that I connect with. Okay, where I spend the most of my time. My 24 hours in a day, I have 24 hours in a day. Let's assume I sleep for 6 hours. The other 18 hours left, what do I do with them? There are some people that categorize their day into hours, right? They know that, okay, for so and so hours, this is what I'm doing, this is what I want to achieve, right? For example, you can say in a day I'm going to study for 2 hours because I'm studying for my master's. Okay, in a day I'm going to cook for 1 hour, because what's 1 hour, because that's the only time I can allocate to this particular thing in a day. If you group your day into hours, you realize that you spend a lot of hours doing things that are not productive. You realize that you spend a lot of hours doing things that don't contribute to your growth at all. You would realize that you spend a lot of hours doing things that don't add up to anything meaningful, that don't add up to anything substantial. So you feel like you were busy throughout the day, but you didn't do anything productive throughout the day. Okay, you were just busy doing nothing. You were just busy being a busy bee, because none of the things that you did throughout the whole day actually are contributing to your growth, actually are contributing to your purpose, actually are contributing to your rising. Okay, so you're basically just wasting your day, but in your mind you feel like you're being busy, you're being productive, but the reality is that you're just busy doing nothing. None of the things that you've done throughout the day can be accounted for, and even if they can be accounted for, they are not things that ultimately account to you fulfilling your goals, achieving your goals, or working in purpose. Okay, so I think the more we need to take account, the more we take account of our lives, the more we get clarity. And another thing is that you while you while away time, don't forget that other people are not whiling away their time. Okay, there are people that are working 3 times as hard as you. So when you see people achieve some certain things, you can't say, oh, how did they do that? Because while you were busy doing nothing, they were busy being productive, so that puts them ahead of you, right? There are people that I feel like I'm dedicated to my goals, but I have seen people that are 10 times as dedicated as I am. So when I see them achieving certain things, I don't say anything, because I know that they are working overtime, right? There are people that really work 24 hours in a day. I kid you not. There are people that sleep every 2 days, right? Because time is important, time is precious. Okay, time is very, very valuable. If you waste your time, you're wasting your life, literally, because your life is a accumulation of the time spent, right? So if you're wasting 10 hours in every day, in a week you've wasted 70 hours, which is a lot. So now imagine someone that is 70 hours ahead of you per week. Definitely it's going to take you a lot more determination, time, and consistency for you to catch up. So the point is, whatever it is that you're doing, do it wholeheartedly, do it dedicatedly. I tell people that if you want to know whether you should give your all to something, do it consistently for a month. And when I mean consistently, I mean do it hourly, like do it all the time, over and over and over again, and see whether it doesn't work. If you see progress in that thing, that should tell you that whatever it is that you're doing, there's an outcome. Okay, whatever it is that you're putting so much of your time into, you're going to get your returns. Okay, it is better that you do it consistently for 1 month, decide that it's not working, and to cut that thing off, than for you to never try and never know that in 1 month could have set you 10 years ahead. That's it. Sometimes a month can set you 10 years ahead, but you would never know if you don't try. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that decide that you want a better life. Try as many things as you can. Most often times you don't know if something is working, you don't know if something is possible until you go ahead and do it. So I mean, what's the harm in trying? There are some things that don't even have any consequences. If you try it, it's not something bad. So what's the harm in trying to do that thing? Okay, so go ahead and give it your time. Go ahead and give it everything in you. Okay, and just see the outcome. It may actually turn out better than you thought it would be. Okay, so that will be to your benefit if it turns out better. Okay, so try different things, try new things. Like there's a saying that you don't find purpose, you stumble upon purpose, meaning that while you're doing whatever it is that your hand finds to do, that is when you realize purpose, that's when you realize destiny, that's when you realize what you are meant to do on this earth. So go ahead and try new things, do things that you've never done before, explore beyond your your, explore beyond what you can see. Okay, go above your limits and see where it leads you. Just take risks and live life. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Go on new adventures, explore new things, and whatever it is that you've lost, just know that there's still better waiting for you out there. Okay, if you've lost it, let it go. Just keep an open heart and be hopeful that things will get better. And I will see you on the next live. Bye.